Come one, come all, gather round. We're sitting in traffic, and it has been quite a while since I last recorded a video in the car. And I figured, as I'm stuck in I don't know how many mile tailback trying to get to northwest London, I might as well make something of the time, be productive, and talk to myself. Yeah, so on this very grey day, although it's getting warmer, the temperature is increasing by about 1 degree every hour, which is not unwelcome, but it's really muggy and moist in the air. So yeah, it looks cold, but it's a bit sweaty, almost tropical, but without the sunshine. It's just really grey and windy. It's like rain season in the tropics, I suppose. Just constant moistness and cloud cover and imminent rain. So enough on the weather. Work-wise, what have I been up to? It kind of feels like not a lot, to be honest, but I do have a lot going on. More so because I am waiting for other people to finish their work before I can start mine, and that's been the case now for at least 3 different projects where I've got equipment ready and waiting to be installed, and it's just sitting there. Some of it coming up to, did I say 4 months? Yeah, thereabouts. So I imagine everything will, on the very same day, kick off, and there'll be requests on the same day or the same week at least to just get lots of stuff done. In the meantime, I have been catering to some smaller jobs and projects, just fixing things mostly. I seem to be still on a roll with some takeover jobs. So since what month was it? April, May last year, around April or May 2023, that's when my now ex-business partner Michael left the company to seek pastures greener pastures or whatever, and pretty much in that same week I got 2 inquiries about taking over jobs from basically where other smart home integrators had let the customers down. One of them was local to me, another one was just where the company had basically gone bust and no one was available to complete the work. So, and that has naturally led to other work as well, because those customers that I have helped to basically recover their projects have mentioned of other people who have dealt with the same company or companies and are or were in a similar situation. And then there's a couple of companies who, no, not companies, a couple of customers who were basically just fed up with the customer service, or actually lack of customer service from certain companies, and basically just wanted someone who is responsible for a system. And by that I mean someone who, when there's a question, there's someone available to respond with a legitimate answer, rather than what was one of the bad examples they were given. There was, oh yeah, so on one of the projects there were 2 companies involved, or 3 companies involved possibly. So company A installed an AV system, nothing wrong with that. That company though went bust or moved, closed up shop or whatever, so they were unable to support it when the customer bought the house. Then company B were recommended or instructed by the, I don't know, the estate agent or whatever, or a neighbor or something, to come and rectify or upgrade the system, update it for modern use, i.e., the usual 4K, that kind of thing, because it was installed initially in the HD era. So yeah, lots of 4K upgrades, which is all well and good. They got the video part mostly right. I've still got a few things to tidy up there. But then when it comes to the audio, they had obviously sent someone who clearly didn't have a clue. So there's a pair of, I think they were, or they are, 6 or 8 channel power amps with many settings and buttons and toggles and dials on the back, which if you don't know what they do, or if you accidentally knock one or leave one set in a certain setting that it shouldn't be, it's going to cause all sorts of problems, like certain areas not having any audio, or buzzing on speakers where there shouldn't be, or certain areas just not turning on, for example. And they recommended, the only solution was to replace these 2 power amplifiers, bearing in mind each of these amplifiers cost about £3,500. So it's £7,000 for worth of amplifiers that this company B have deemed useless and needs ripping out and replacing. I spent 40 minutes diagnosing and looking at what's going on, and basically concluded that whoever was sent to rectify the initial issue of the various audio issues, they really did not know what they were doing. And once I reset the amps to what they should be, so all the toggles and switches and dials I mentioned, set them to settings that made sense for how things were physically wired in, suddenly there was music working in zones where previously there wasn't music. Speakers that were constantly buzzing had stopped buzzing. Audio from devices like skyboxes, etc., was suddenly working, and the customer just said, "Wow, what was the issue? Like, what's going on?" I just said, to be honest, it just looks like whoever was in there wasn't educated on what exactly they were either meant to do or what they were working with. So yeah, I'm not going to mention any names. I definitely don't know the name of the engineer that fettled, but I do have it on good grounds from the customer as well that the person who was there, who recommended the amps be replaced, did seem to be the type who hadn't been in the industry long and didn't really have much of a clue as to what he was doing. So I basically just confirmed their fears about this person, and that was that. So yeah, I went off on a massive tangent there, but anyway, so that's another takeover job. So like I said, the last year and a bit I've been dealing with so many takeover jobs. In fact, I've now dealt with, I want to say 6, maybe 7. What's interesting as well, a friend of mine, Alec, who has his own AV company in Maidstone, not too far away from where I am, he is in the process of taking over a job that was installed by the company I previously worked for. Again, I'm not going to mention any names because it boils my blood. But luckily, I was able to take one look at the cabinet, and I said to him, "Yep, I know who installed it, and I know what you need to do to rectify it." And yeah, let's just say a few questionable things had been done, and let's call it corners that had been cut, which was not something I hadn't seen before from certain people. Again, not naming any names. Not that they're ever going to see this, so it doesn't really matter. Shit, I should just have a list of everyone who I'm slagging off right now. But I'm not going to do that because I'm a bigger man. So as I mentioned, some of those takeover jobs have led to work that is not takeover work, but it's actually fresh work, so to speak. And that's where I'm going today. So one of the first two inquiries I had about rescuing AV systems, so to speak. In fact, this was the second inquiry I had. They've obviously been impressed with what I've done, or just being able to, again, like I said before, revive the system, rescue it, make it work, bring the project back to life or whatever, because so many things weren't working and now everything's working. Pardon me. They've actually recommended me to two of their friends. One of them, again, was another takeover / rescue job where another company had really cocked up. So yeah, lots of cowboys out there. And then the one I'm going to today is actually it's in the early stages of a refurb. No AV company or anything like that have been assigned yet. I've had one brief conversation with the customer and he said he wanted some smart lighting to begin with. Very well and good. That's something I like doing, and it's something I've done a lot in the past, so there we go. I'm going to go and meet him. I'm about an hour away from him, and then just going to go through all of his needs and requirements and then put together a quote. And fingers crossed it will lead to a bit more, because the lighting system that will be installed will actually be capable of doing a lot more. All sorts of other BMS and home control stuff, like be it curtains or blinds, gates, intercom, etc., that kind of thing. Music, if you really want to add into it. Not so much AV control. Obviously, it can do AV control, but I'm seeing a shift move away from AV control in smart home systems, because for anyone in the UK who's familiar with Sky Digital or Sky or whatever their official name is, you no longer have to have a big skybox with a dish mounted to the outside of the house. Now you just have a little, what they call a puck, a SkyStream puck, which is no bigger than like a Roku box or an Apple TV. It just plugs into power and HDMI to the TV, and then connects to Wi-Fi, and you get all your Sky services and channels over the internet, which has been a long time in the making and coming. It's just a shame it's taken them this long to get to it. But with each TV now having its own local Skybox, well, I say each TV, up to 6 in a house can have its own local Skybox. That Sky remote's also capable of controlling AVRs and TVs and everything like that. So you no longer really have this need for centralized video like what AV companies traditionally installed. Because going back to the days of Sky HD, Sky would only let you have 2 Skyboxes per household, and most houses would have 4 or 5 TVs, and they want to receive Sky at all for all of those TVs. So the easiest thing to do was have a centralized video system. Now that need is completely negated. Obviously, with a centralized video system, you then need video switching, and you need something there to control as well. That's where the AV controlling comes into it, and that then gives you the ability to break out to audio zones and everything like that. But now, provided your amplifiers and that are local to your TV, you can just take the audio from the TV or directly from the Skybox, or the Sky Puck, I should say, and it's all good. Whole home audio is still, it's a bit on the fence, because you have all these wireless speakers that are brilliant. Sonos, Denon Hios speakers, There's a couple of other ones as well that have come out recently, like the Wii etc., which I've yet to read a bit more into that amp, but I believe you can actually have multiple zones connected. But from my experience, the performance of those systems, especially Sonos, if all the speakers are wireless, can be a bit lacking. It can be a bit laggy, and sometimes it's just a bit of a cause for headache, really. With centralized or like true whole home audio, you have a lot more control over the experience, where the music goes, and there's just an inherent lack of lag in some of the apps, because rather than one app having to talk to multiple devices, you've got a dedicated processor or control interface that's talking to all of the devices on the network, and then it's just feeding information to the app on your phone or to a keypad on the wall in the kitchen or whatever. So, and that's what makes the biggest difference. Having a dedicated system to control and distribute your music is a lot smoother than having a decentralized, let's call it, almost wireless music system with a mix of Wi-Fi and Ethernet speakers, etc., whatever. So yeah, like I said, music systems are still on the fence. They both have their advantages and they both have their drawbacks. There they are. Advantage of a wireless system being it only needs power if you look at wireless speakers, because the streaming and amplification is built into the box. So there's that. Again, I've got off on a massive tangent about smart home technologies. I don't know why, it's just what was there to talk about, and here we are. At least the traffic is freed up now, so I'm glad about that. And now we're getting up to speeds again. I'll be able to open the windows in a minute and get some cool air in here, because for some reason this car, I think because it's a black car, attracts heat so terribly, and the outside temperature is only reading 16, but it's about 30 degrees in here. So, and I've got the cool air blowing through the vents. Not that it's doing much. Oh well. What time is it? 10:30. I've got 45 minutes to get to, I forget the name of the place, Pinner, I want to say. Pinner? Pinner. Weird name. But yeah, it's in northwest London and I'm in the wrong lane, so I'm gonna scoot over here. Cool, here we are. Anyway, so yeah, this was just meant to be a catch up, and also, oh yeah, catch up. And one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video was, in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, the actual videos I've been putting out have been very lacking. I'm fairly certain I've only put out 2 videos in the last 2 months. By videos where I'm, playing or fixing speakers or doing whatever. And I haven't been doing that much recently because, as I mentioned quite a while ago, we got some bad news on Good Friday, which is quite the oxymoron if you ask me. Bad news on Good Friday about how we received an eviction notice, if you remember, if you watched that video. If not, whatever. Yeah, so we received an eviction notice on Good Friday, on the evening of Good Friday, and that put a bit of stress on us because it came out of the blue completely, and suddenly we were having to find somewhere else to live. And the downside of that is, or was, or still is, I suppose, that the rental market is currently, it's, for lack of a better word, fucked. We were looking at places equivalent in size to where we were living, a 2-bedroom house, and the prices were starting at around 40% more than we were paying. You know, the majority seemed to be in that 40 to 55% range more, which on the face of it you might think, oh, there's only a difference of 900 to 1400 a month, and most people look at it and think, whatever, we'll pay it, it's fine. But imagine one day you go to fill up your car and you're being charged £1.50 a litre for fuel, which is about what it is currently. You use up that tank. The next time you go back to pay for fill up your car, you're suddenly having to pay £2.25. You know, that's a massive price hike. No one's going to do that. Why? So why should we have to do it for rent? So yeah, we ended up overstaying our welcome, so to speak, by nearly an entire month. Needless to say, the landlord wasn't too pleased about it, but naturally there was nothing he could really do about it until we decided to move out. We did initially reach out to the council to make a homelessness application, but because we had savings, their answer is use your savings first to pay for rent. So that was an exercise in futility. And then eventually, when we kind of realized that we were on the brink of really needing to move out, but also not being able to find anything, luckily my in-laws said, for the second time in this lifespan with my wife, move in with us. So yeah, we've been busy the last few weeks. Well, the last week and a couple of weeks settling, and then the 2 weeks prior to that moving between houses, and then a week prior to that fixing up, cleaning up the old house. So luckily that chapter is now closed. We got our deposit back in full, which is such a relief. Not that there was any reason for them not to return the deposit, because like, I'm sure that house is in a better condition than it was when we started renting it. So yeah. So the reason I haven't been around a lot recently is moving house, obviously trying to work in between fixing up the old house, and yeah, I'm hoping to get back into a routine of having at least 1 or 2 days in the office over the next, well, for the rest of the year at least. And I want to spend at least 1 day per week just concentrating on putting videos together and, you know, pardon me, having fun. You know, be it fixing speakers, testing amps, fixing up amps, or what else have I, you know, programming things, testing computers, building computers, that kind of stuff. Just everything that interests me, tech. I'd like to do some more videos on cars, but I just don't have the finances or the space for it at the moment, which is a shame, because, you know, you only have one life and time is running out every second. So this guy in front of me does not know, he's changed lane 3 times in the last 2 minutes, and he's indicating to change again. There he goes again. Where are you going? Some people really amaze me. Like, how do they navigate through life if they can't even navigate a signposted road? Wow. Let's change lanes ourselves here. Get away from this these couple of lorries. Okay, so I'm gonna end my conversation with myself just there for now, because I am getting close to the point where I need to turn off and I need to switch over to SatNav, because being a new job, I've not been there before. I know the area vaguely, but not enough to navigate my way to the house. So there we go. Anyway, yeah, sorry it's been a bit of a long one. I'm not going to edit this one. It is what it is. And if you've waited until now to hear that, I'm sorry I didn't mention that at the beginning. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe or leave a like down below. Not that these videos are likeable, unless you just like listening to people talk about shit. If that's the case, hell, leave a comment as well. Let me know what you think. Bye.